Greetings. Greetings. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the live, man. I'm your host. We're not about to do that shit. Hey, who we got in the chat, man? Who we got? Oh man, we got Gua. Gua Paul. Did I say that right? That wasn't disrespect if I said it incorrectly. It was incompetence. But greetings, Gua. We got Just Jay. What up? You know what I'm saying? We don't want your belly big as hell no more. That's kind of why we're here. Ty Goldsmith, Big Ty, what up? Ellie, what up? What's the topic today? We're gonna do a little Q&A, man. It's been I haven't been on my Q&A grind as I once was when I started going live. So we're gonna get into some Q&A, man. I'm gonna make this as valuable as I can. You know what I'm saying? Help you guys out. The only Rico I know with a E in his name instead of a I, Rico. What's good, man? Yo, Rico, I know you saw that video I sent you, bro. Hopefully it was helpful, big dog. Sean, what up? Varisan, what's good? Matt, what's popping? Matt's talking about turn the speed up. Nah, man, I'm not about to sprint and talk to y'all. I'm just gonna walk it out. Like DJ Unk said. Am I on the treadmill? Yes, I am on the treadmill talking to y'all because I'm fucking psychotic about my goals, man. I'm out here getting these steps in because it's raining outside. Or else I would have took the live outside, right? You know what I'm saying? What up? Halo Top or Yasso? Halo Top or Yasso, man? I'm gonna have to go with Halo Top. Halo Top gives you more bang for your buck. Not only is it more flavors, I think, available than Yasso. I think Yasso is like a little newer than Halo Top. But you get a little bit of that fiber. You get more grams of protein, so it's more macro friendly. And it gives you a little bit of just the variety of it. You know what I mean? It stay with you longer. Now it is gonna cost you more calories, right? Because it's got some carbs and fats, you know, a little bit heavier than Yasso, but I don't know, man. I just find that I sustain better energy and satisfy that little sweet tooth when I do the Halo Top personally. But what's y'all pick? Yasso or Halo? Which one it is? Mohammed says he loves my videos from the UK. Hey, appreciate the love. And we global, baby. We global. You know what I'm saying? Burton Ernie, what up? Greetings. James White's working on that big ass belly. Are you working on the belly or are you working to get rid of the belly? Like, which one is it? You know what I'm saying? Greetings. My mother's in the building. Greetings. Hope you're well. Good to see you. We got P Diddy Fitness is in the chat. What up, man? The diddler. The diddler's here. Nancy says she hates treadmills. She runs no matter whatever weather. That's good for you, Nancy. You know what I'm saying? Everybody give Nancy a hand clap for running in the rain. You know what I'm saying? She's better than all of us. Nikki says, I inspire her. Hey, you have pretty good taste in your inspirations. All right. Thoughts on Bronny James? I think they're being too like critical of this kid. Like even in the NBA summer league for like 2 weeks, and everybody's like calling him a bust, and it's like, yo, he's a kid, man. He's just learning how to play at this level. And yeah, man, like the comparisons to his dad, who's like arguably the greatest player in NBA history, is ridiculous. You know, there's only one LeBron James, even if it's his son and they got the same name. I think the idea that he should be anything of his father's level is ridiculous. Um, and I'm gonna be honest. I think it's kind of cool that his dad is so great that he was able to give him a spot, even though he's not really showing that he's like that exceptional of a player. But who knows? He might develop into one, right? That's my take. What is the benefit of a weighted vest? That's a good question. So, Mike and anybody else who's considering like maybe doing something with a weighted vests essentially are like it's adding a little bit additional resistance to your training if you're doing something with body weight exercises. So let's say you're doing some squats, right? And you good at squatting your own weight. If you put a weighted vest on and do some squats, that intensifies the movement, meaning that not only are your muscles going to have to work harder, which could lead to more strength being accrued, but for you guys who looking to lose that big ass belly, what it could lead to is your body having to expend more energy because you have more weight to move around. So a lot of guys that I know get benefits from doing like walks with weighted vests, incline walks, even doing some like hiking if you're in an area that permits that. And essentially, you know what I'm saying, like it'll get to the point where your heart rate would get elevated slightly if you're wearing like a weighted vest, which if your heart rate's higher, you're burning more calories, right? That made sense. If it was helpful, type 1 in the comments and you'll get into it. Omari says, glad you're not an AI fake. This guy is still going with these jokes, man. Shout out. Shout out to you, man. Glad I can inspire, man. Started a workout. Best tip to try to stop eating junk because I crave it. I got a few tips for the cravings junkies. Like if you craving foods, I want you to know you just may be misinterpreting the signals that your body's giving you, right? Like the desire for like sweets typically stems from a lack of certain nutrients that you may need. My big 3 that I tell my clients to target and that I also target myself is get more grams of protein in, right? Get more fiber and then hydrate, right? Get more water. So you may be lacking in one of those 3 or all 3. And the only way to really determine how much you need and what you may need to focus on in regards to that is to track it. I wrote a whole guide on this completely free. I call it the simple 6-pack system. I'll go ahead and drop it in the chat for everybody. If you want to get your hands on that, learn what you should be consuming nutritionally, learn, how to track properly, and really just start that basic game plan. It's not only going to help, shred your stomach, but help you keep it off long term. Because some of y'all missed this summer, man. Right? Y'all missed this summer, right? But next summer will be here at some point. And you know what I'm saying? If you make it, you might, want to look better. But not just for the summers, but for long term. If you want some longevity or results, you got to know what got you those results in the first place, right? Idonia, that's quite the name. I like that. What are the best tracking apps? I don't know any other apps other than MyFitnessPal because like I've been using that for free the past 9 years, and my app, which y'all can't have unless you're a client, so don't even look it up. Right? But like those are the only 2 apps that I've actually used for tracking, because MyFitnessPal, honestly, y'all can go get that for free right now, and it's gonna serve all your needs. You're not gonna need anything else because it literally has everything from you being able to target your goals, right? Because when you talk about changing your body, it's about not only what signal you send to the body in the gym, right? Or if you're doing home workouts and shit like that, right? It's what nutrients you give your body and what amounts to get it to adapt that way, right? So like the workouts, it's kind of like building a house. Like the workouts is like the blueprint of the house, right? But the actual building of the house, right? The food is like the bricks. It's like the materials that you utilize to actually create that house. So MyFitnessPal is dope because it tells you, all right, this is how much you need of these type of foods, and it has every food pretty much that you can imagine in there. And it's like Google. You just type in there, chicken breast, and it pops up. And you just put it in, tap the button. You tell the machine how much chicken breast you actually had, and it tells you the calories and the macros, right? So hopefully that was helpful. Canon R6 Mark or Canon R5? I don't know. Right? I'm not a film dork. Basically, I have a Sony. What's the name? What kind of Sony is that? It's like a ZV-1, and I've had that camera since 2020, and I haven't got a new one. Right? My mentor told me to get it because he said it was dope. That's literally the camera that y'all see all my content get filmed with the exception of some of the videos. And I got like a photographer. Shout out to my dog Keith. He's a local photographer. Sometimes he brings his camera. He's a dork, so he'll be like, "Hey, yo, we got to use the Canon today." But yeah, I just use the Sony ZV-1, man. I don't know shit about cameras. I know you hit the button and it turns on. That's all I know. Do you stretch, and what do you do if you do? So stretching, I do more mobility work than stretching. I'm gonna be honest. I probably should do more static stretching, but I do mobility work more than I stretch. There's 3 types of stretching. You have active stretching, which is mobility work. This is like what you would do ideally before you work out to prime your muscles, your tendons, your ligaments for actually performing with full range of motion in your exercises and getting those muscles that you're about to utilize ready. If you're not doing, active stretching or mobility work, as some people call it, you're not doing that shit, you're really playing yourself. If you out here holding poses like this before your workout to stretch, you actually doing yourself a huge disservice. You shouldn't be stretching with static hold stretching, right? Which is the second form of stretching I was going to talk about. Shouldn't be doing that before your workout. That should be after your workout because that tells your muscles to relax and actually, sort of lengthens the muscles, right? So you do that static hold stretching after. There's a third type. It's more advanced. Like I think only athletes should be doing this. It's called ballistic stretching. Basically, it's just like very abrupt movements repeatedly over and over. It's very fast, and it sort of primes the central nervous system again to get ready for whatever type of movement you're going to do. So those are the 3. Rico, why are fruits bad? Fruits are not bad. Over consuming calories is bad. Specifically, if you are eating fruits and you're only eating fruits, that can become bad because fruits are carbs. Carbs turn into glucose. Glucose gets stored or used. And if you have a big ass belly, you got plenty of glucose that your body stored later as body fat. So the idea should be to limit the consumption of glucose going in, give your body the time that it needs to burn what you already have on you before you start stuffing it with more and more. It's kind of like if you got a fat ass stomach, you like a parked car with a full tank of gas. If you shovel more gas into the gas tank with a car that's already full, what's going to happen to the gas? It's going to spill out. And that spillover is that big ass stomach you got. So do you want to keep spilling over and building a bigger belly, or do you want to get your body better at burning that gas, right? Burning through that tank of gas, so you don't have that issue. Well, for a lot of you guys, the answer is yes. And so what I teach, what I encourage, limit the consumption of carbohydrates to a certain amount. Focus more on proteins and fats, because that'll actually fuel your body's ability to burn through calories, carbohydrates, and the like at a faster rate. So people who say like carbs are bad, they're not telling you the full story. Really, you just have to get your body better at burning carbs while not continuing to like overconsume the amount that you obviously can't handle because you're fat. So hopefully that dispels the myth that like carbs are bad and gives you some clarity why people, like myself, encourage you to kind of limit it to a certain degree until you're ready for it. Jim, how do you recommend they start? I mean, you need a plan, to get in the gym and start something. I think really it's about understanding what your goal is: build muscle, lose fat, how much, how fast, things like that. I think one of the best things to start with is just sort of like a structured game plan with nutrition and your training. And I can give you guys another free thing that I built. It's called the Big Belly Blaster. It's my free fat loss course on building muscle and losing fat. I'm gonna go ahead and drop that in the chat right now as well. If you got a big ass belly and you wanna change that, right? This course may help you. If you somebody that just got a gut, right? I ain't got a big ass belly. Well, you got a gut. It's something that you're doing right now that's fueling that gut to stay there. So the big belly blaster can help with that. If you want, right? If you don't want help, you can just stay like how you are. Hey Corey, you trying to diet up? What the fuck you mean trying? Right? What is that? What is try? I don't know what that is. I lost the question. It's gone now. IJai says, do you do any martial arts? No. No, I don't. I learned some basic karate when I was younger from one of my best friend's father. He was a karate instructor. He knew a bunch of stuff. So I learned some of the basics, man, but I don't still practice it. Nah. And I used to do some boxing training with them too, but not as of late. I may get back into it soon though. That's unfortunate, Ajay. You got scared. You got scared of some money. That's this sounds like a personal issue. AJ, is that how you say your name? AJ? That's what's up. I need that Big Belly Blaster book that I can buy. You ain't gotta buy the Big Belly Blaster. I mean, if you wanted to give like a donation or something, you could, but you don't have to. Like the book is free. The course is free, I should say. It's an email course. You gotta opt in through the link, thebigbellyblaster.com, and you should be able to get that. Contacts or glasses? Well, obviously glasses. You ain't never seen me wearing contacts, and it's a reason for that. I ain't never worn them before. Funny story, when I was in college, I had got the exam to get some contacts, but for you to be able to actually leave the establishment with the contacts, they have to watch you take the contacts out and then put them back in, right? So I was able to take them out, but for some reason, at that time, it was just something about putting them back in that was just weird for me, like putting something in my eye. So no, I never yeah, Chris, I couldn't pass the exam, man. I was just like, man, like maybe it's something wrong with me, right? This whole thing putting my finger in my eye, it's just strange, man. So for that reason, I just stuck to glasses. Hey Corey, I want to diet. I want to get more fat eat the best junk foods in the amount of time I need to play video games and jerk the. Oh, I mean, just stay where you at, man. If you want to stay fat, and you don't want to change, just keep doing what you're doing, bro. You ain't gotta do nothing different. How to stop bad habits. Well, I think the thing people think about when it comes to habits is like they don't realize that you're gonna have a habit no matter what. Like your brain, the way that your brain works, it works in loops. You gotta, if you want to learn more about this concept, there's a book called The Power of Habit. I forgot who wrote it, but I read it a long time. It didn't need to be a book. It was like one of those books where, like, y'all ever read a book where they just repeating themselves over and over and over again with different stories? It was like that for like 200 pages or something. But basically, the way it works is like this: your brain will get cued to do something, right? So something will happen, and then it'll send a signal to your brain to do something. And then when your brain does that thing, what happens next is like you get some type of reward from that. So I might be able to, nah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that today. All right. Yeah. This software don't work the same way my shit does on Zoom. But anyway, so you have a signal, you take an action, and then you get a reward. Okay. So that's the loop. And when you get the reward, you do that thing again once the signal happens again, right? So it's kind of like this. Like the signal to brush your teeth is like you wake up in the morning, you put your tongue across your teeth, or you smell that stink ass breath, and you're like, ugh, I need to do something, right? So that's the signal. Then you brush your teeth. That's the action. And then you get the reward, fresh breath and clean teeth, right? And then you do the thing again once you feel that little film over your teeth, right? So what does it have to do with like getting rid of bad habits? Well, it's not about getting rid of the habit. It's about replacing the thing with something else when you get that cue, when you get that signal. So let's say it was brushing your teeth, right? And you didn't want to brush your teeth anymore for whatever odd reason, but you still wanted to feel the cleanliness. Then maybe you mouth rinse instead. So instead of doing the brushing the teeth, you're replacing it with something that gives you that same sensation of fresh breath and clean teeth, right? So you, my friend, who has bad habits, you just got to replace those habits with better ones, right? Because you always going to have habits no matter what. I remember I had a friend once. He was like really into like drinking and having sex with a lot of women. Like that was his thing. Right? It was just his thing. Like he was like, I'm having sex with a lot of women, and I'm out here drinking all kinds of brown alcohol. Right? That was his thing. Well, he came to me once. He was like, bro, like, how are you so disciplined? Like, how do you stay so like dialed in? Like, how do you not do all of this? You in great shape. Girls be like throwing themselves at you. You got, to your results. You don't have to stay so strict. Like, how do you do this? And I said, bro, like, it's not about me doing this. Like, it's about what I'm filling my time with so that I don't even think about doing the other stuff. So he was asking me like, well, how can I, get away from this and be more disciplined like you? I said, bro, it's not about not drinking and not having sex with these women. It's about what do those things give you that you don't have when you're not doing them. And you have to figure out what that is and replace that thing with something that gives you that same feeling. Right. So you got to replace these actions with something that gives you the same stimulus. It's the same with your diet, man. Like if you eating a bunch of food when you stressed out, or you snacking on cakes and pies because it's convenient, right? You're doing that stuff because you haven't replaced it with the things that you can snack on that won't keep you fat. You're doing those things because you haven't replaced the snacking or the eating the sweets or the binge eating with stuff that makes you feels better when you're stressed out. So you guys just got to find better replacements for your habits. That's the whole thing. Hopefully that was helpful. Frosted Flakes, is it for real? I don't think Frosted Flakes is real. I think it's like made in a lab. I think scientists make Frosted Flakes cereal. I don't think Frosted Flakes is like found in nature. If that's what you ask. I don't think there's like a Frosted Flake tree. I think you got to get that in the lab somewhere. If I ate the world, how much would I weigh? How much muscle will I have? That's a wild question that I don't have an answer for. Is milk good for a protein shake? I mean, I don't see that it's bad. You know, like milk is milk, right? Like protein is protein. If you add the two together, right, you get a little bit extra protein, and the milk probably is going to give you a little bit of, you know, a better flavor than just drinking water with protein, because it has dietary fats, and dietary fats hold flavor better. I just don't drink milk personally because, like, I got a thing as a man with like putting white things in my mouth. It's just, you know, pause. Like I'm not into that. Yeah, my man's is in the comments going crazy. Yeah, this is a wild thing going on in these comments. I don't know what's happening here. Yeah, I'm gonna put this guy in timeout, man. He's going off. And this guy too, man. I'm gonna put him in timeout too. All right. Chris says, can you talk a little bit about hitting your macros when eating OMAD? I can, Chris, but I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're doing OMAD, like, you probably not gonna hit all your macros, right? Like, it's just the likelihood of it happening is very slim, because, like, what's OMAD for those that are new to the whole fasting lifestyle? It stands for 1 meal a day, right? So you basically say, like, an example of it would be, if I ate yesterday at 5 p.m., right, and I decide to come on today and eat a meal in front of y'all at 5 p.m., and this is my only meal, I'm not going to eat again after this, that would be my 1 meal a day, right? So I'm basically fasting all day long until my 1 meal of the day. And this is like for somebody who really wants to lose fat quickly, because you're spending majority of your time in a state of being fasted, which is very advantageous for running off fat as a fuel source. Because if you think about it, if you're not putting extra fuel in, your body only runs on two type of fuels: fat or food, right? You ain't putting food in, your body burns through all that. It's got to run off what? Fat, right? That's what I'm running off right now, right? I'm fasted. I've been fasting for 24 hours, right? So basically, like, once you break that fast with that 1 meal, the likelihood of you hitting your macros in that 1 meal is slim to none. I typically will go for like getting as much protein as I can in that meal, as opposed to like focusing on hitting my carbs and my fats too. For any of you guys that are tracking, you know what I'm talking about, right? You guys that ain't tracking at all, y'all, this is like fucking Spanish to you. This is another language. Well, get the guide that I dropped earlier, and this will make more sense. But like, just try to get as, like, I would say, get as close to your protein target as you can in that meal. Like, for me, like, I typically target on a day where I'm just eating, I'll get 100 and, 160, 180, maybe 200 grams of protein at the max, right? But most times it's like 160, 180. On an OMAD day, I'm probably only going to get like 130 to maybe 150, just depending on my appetite that day. You know what I'm saying? So get relatively close. The appropriate amount of protein that you need is not in relation to your total mass. It's in relation to your lean mass. So if you find out what your body fat percentage is and what your lean mass number is, as long as you're getting like your lean mass somewhere around 0.75 to 1 gram of protein per pound of lean mass, you're getting that, you should be good for muscle maintenance, muscle retention, and even muscle growth. All right. So just get that if you can. Can you help me gain 20 pounds of solid muscle in 90 days? Lord Billboard, maybe you can help me with that, man. You got more muscle than me, bro. You know what I'm saying? I need to be on your live. You know what I'm saying? No problem, Chris. What's the chances of gaining muscle at 60 65? I mean, listen, like, you know, the thing is, people had this belief that like just because you're in your 60s, you can't build muscle. But like I got tons of clients in their 60s, even 70s building muscle. What's the difference between them and another 60-year-old? It's just like the structure, it's the plan. It's actually knowing what to target in the gym and actually knowing like how much nutrients you should be focusing on fueling your body with to perform well and recover well. So you got to just get a plan, man. Like that's the main thing that you need, whether you 60, 70, 15, 21, it doesn't fucking matter, right? Like you got to just get a plan. Now, do you have some disadvantages being 60 to somebody who's 21? Sure, right? Maybe your testosterone levels aren't as high, right? Testosterone is one of the chief anabolic hormones that actually initiates the growth process of muscle, but it's not the only thing, right? And it's also not to say that your testosterone is completely gone, right? It may just be a slightly lower than it was when you was in your 20s. So you still can build some muscle. You know, you have some advantages over those people too. Like when you was in your 20s, you probably didn't have as many resources right now as you do have, right? Like most of the 60-year-olds I know, you know, the ones that I coach, they have a coach, right? Like I don't know a lot of 20-year-olds that got coaches, right? They have better resources in terms of like accesses to gyms and the best equipment, you know, some of the best food sources, supplementation. Some guys even go as far as to get testosterone replacement therapy, all things and resources that you have access to in your later years, right? Because you've accumulated a certain amount of wealth and abundance to actually afford that luxury. Whereas somebody who's younger probably doesn't have that yet. So you also got advantages too, man. You know what I'm saying? Just because you 60 don't mean that shit has to be a limitation. But if you believe it's a limitation, it will become that. You know what I'm saying? It will become that. Your belief about what it means for you is more important than any of the facts, right? Because you know what you do about what happens is going to determine what it means for you anyway. And you're not going to take action if you don't believe you can do it. So it's about believing like, yo, I can actually make this happen. And hopefully me telling you the real is like something that helped change that belief, because you can do something about this, right? Like you can build some muscle. All right. I'm doing low carb. Samantha's doing low carb. My weight loss has stalled. How can I get my weight loss to begin again? I currently go to the gym 5 or more days a week. Samantha, I would need to know what your calorie intake looks like, because that's the key. It don't matter how many days of the week you go to the gym. It don't matter how many carbs you eating or not eating. It matters about your total calories. Weight loss, fat loss, whatever you want to call it, is contingent upon how many calories you're burning versus how many you're consuming. And if you don't have that information, that's where you got to start. You got to figure out what amount of calories that you're currently consuming on average, track that for, I don't know, a week's time with the amount of activity you're doing. And if you don't see a change, that's not a deficit for you. You need to burn more or consume less, right? But if you do see a change, then hey, congratulations. You know exactly what works for you. I can give you a tip that might help you. I think really just like understanding that carbs is not the key, right? It's about what fuel sources your body prioritizing, right? So carbs tell your body to utilize glucose as a fuel source, right? But limiting the carbs will put you more on the side as long as you're, fueling yourself right with the proteins and fats of utilizing dietary fat as a fuel source more. So I think maybe just spending more time, fat adapted. Maybe you kill the carbs for a few days. That might be enough to get your body to start tapping the fat. But honestly, yo, you start tracking those calories. That's going to tell you everything you need. Okay. Hopefully that was helpful. Also, we got another Corey in the chat, man. I got to answer that question, man. I'm 51, lift weights, do cardio. It's good for you, man. 5 in the morning before work. Should I eat before I go to the gym? And if so, what do you recommend? I mean, it depends, man. Like what kind of results you getting, right? If you're seeing the results you want to see and you're not eating, then you're fine. If you're not seeing the results that you want to see and you're not eating, maybe you might need to adjust something. But I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you're seeing great results doing what you're doing, why would you change that? You know what I'm saying? Why would you change that? So I would need to know more. I mean, eating in the morning, before your workouts is not necessary. Like I barely ever eat before I work out. Like it's almost never that I do it. And it's just because of preference more so than anything. I just prefer not to, train in a fed state because I just don't like how I feel training in the fed state. I like to train fasted. You know what I'm saying? That's just my personal preference. But training fed isn't bad either. A lot of my clients do it and they get great results. I got a guy on my program right now. His name is Brennan from Chicago. He trains in the evenings. So he's typically eating before his workouts, a few meals. And because he's consistent with tracking his nutrition, being dialed in with like the workouts and staying consistent with everything, he's been able to lose 40 pounds in 8 weeks, and that's eating. That's like fed training, right? So it ain't about like training fed or training fasted. It's about what habits are around that. What's the total calories and macros looking like? What's the training protocol around that? That stuff's more important than when you eat. Yeah, and Ed is probably he's the most jacked person on this live. He's got more muscle than me. Ed says he trains on a half empty stomach. I don't know what that means. Half empty. What? But he's got great results, man. It's about what you fuel your body with total in the day, more so than like, all right, before I'm gonna eat this or after I'm gonna eat this. Thoughts on Kodiak waffles and pancakes? I think they're great because you got some easy protein in there. I'm gonna be honest, man. There's some other ways to make high protein pancakes than those though. Like, you don't have to go that route. Like I remember back before those were a thing. I used to make my own with like oatmeal. This is literally all you gotta do, guys. You get some oatmeal, you throw an egg in there, stir it up, put like some non-stick spray on a pan, and that's a pancake. I don't know if y'all know that. So what I used to do is I used to like get some oatmeal, throw a protein in it of my favorite flavor, right? And then, get like an egg or whatever, or maybe 2 eggs, stir it up, and then, throw that on the pan and flip it. And it was a pancake. And it was delicious, So you can do Kodiak or whatnot for the high protein content, but you can also, just make your own with like some oatmeal, egg, and some protein too. He a meal or two and wait 90 minutes. That's enough. That's how I used to do it too. Back when I used to train in the evenings, I used to, be on the fed workout, but I like to train in the mornings now just to get it out the way. Corey looking like Yes King. I didn't know who that was until I started going live. And somebody put it in the comments. I looked it up and I was like, I regretted the fact. That's when I made the commitment that the shit y'all be talking about in the comments, I'm not gonna be looking it up no more. Because after that, I was scarred. So, I train on the empty stomach and I'll take meds before my first meal, which is after my workout. Okay, that's what's up, man. Rooting for you, man. Hope you get up off the meds soon. Someone who just started lifting, what's a good weight to start at? Whatever you can handle, man. I don't know how strong you are, so I'm not gonna like tell you to start with like a certain amount of weight. That could be shortchanging you, right? I think you want to when you get on like a program, like follow the rep range that's listed on the program so that you can really determine like what kind of strength progression you're making, right? So what does that mean? Like, let's say you got a program and it says do 8 to 12 reps, right? The reps is telling you how much weight to use. You know that, right? So like if you're doing a squat and you're doing like, I don't know, 50 pounds and you can hit that for 12 reps on the first set, the next set you should be increasing the weight. You should be at least testing 55 or 60 or whatever the amount of weight is that you have available, because what's going to happen is you're going to see if you can hit 12 again. If you don't hit 12, then congratulations, you found like a good working weight. So that's how you want to look at this. Is like use the range of reps to determine how much weight you should actually be using. Tesha is like spamming the chat saying this is a fake. I don't know what's going on here, but I'm gonna go ahead and put Tesha on timeout. All right, there we go. What you think about Quest chips? I think they taste like air flakes. They like seasoned air flakes. And that's my only thoughts about it, right? Like I don't think they're bad, but is they really what am I going to the store looking for them? No. Have I had them a few times? Yeah, but they're mid at best. My fat makes me hungry. Levi, I'm sorry to hear that, man. What you gonna do about that though? You know what I'm saying? You gonna stay fat or you gonna do something about that, you know? Thoughts on Cheetos keeping you big as hell? That's my thoughts. Chester got your stomach big as hell, man. That's my thoughts. Donald Trump fitness. Oh, he's talking about Trump getting shot in the ear. I mean, like shout out to Trump for surviving that. That's that's crazy when you think about it, because it's like one inch or two to the left or the right could have been out of here. So shout out to him, man. You must have tried the taco ones. The Quest chips, mate. I don't see. That's the thing, is it was so non-memorable. I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't even tell you. Serious question. What do you think about burpee, dips, pull-up, and bodyweight workouts? I mean, they're fine. Are they the best form of exercise for muscle growth and fat loss? No, not even a little bit. But are they fine? Sure. I do dips and pull-ups every week, but I do them with weight, with resistance. I got like a dip belt where I can add, plates to the movement. But getting in the gym, lifting some heavy weights, add some resistance to your training is always going to be superior to the body weight stuff. How can I get energy when I have a desk job and a long work commute? I mean, you could stop using that shit as an excuse, for one. Like how many guys? I mean, you think you're the only guy that got a desk job and a long commute? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of guys that had that. I had that when I was getting fat, and I decided to just say, you know what? Despite these circumstances, I'm not going to let them define me. I'm going to take responsibility for my life and decide that I'm going to make different decisions. So I think that's the first step. Like understand this, y'all. Like, the results that you want don't give a fuck about how you feel, right? Ain't nobody going to swoop in and save you. And the only people that's going to pity you is your motherfucking Facebook friends and maybe some of your family members. But, that pity ain't going to do nothing to change your life. It's just going to keep you where you at, right? I think the most powerful thing that you can do as a person is just take full responsibility for everything, like own everything. I like to think of the journey towards my goals in life like being on a road trip, right? And if you in a car on a road trip, it's a two-man trip, right? You got you in the driver's seat and you got your excuses in the passenger seat, right? And so what a lot of times what happens when people are on this trip towards their goals, because the road is unfamiliar and maybe the roads get a little treacherous, right? And the weather gets a little treacherous as well. The uncertainty and the fear as it pertains to the destination often causes people to stop and start to say, you know what? Take the keys out and give the keys to their life to their excuses and tell their excuses, hey, you drive the car. I'm afraid. I don't know what's on the other side of this. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what to do. And you know what excuses do? They start driving your car. Now the excuses are in control of the trajectory of your life. And you know what the fuck excuses take you, right? Right back to where you was at. You know what I'm saying? And that's how the story ends for most people. They so focus on how things are limiting them that they give the keys to their life to their excuses, and the excuses just drive them wherever the fuck they want to drive. What I'm saying to y'all is if you want a better life, if you want to reach your goals, if you want to like really achieve excellence, you got to take the keys to your life back. And you got to drive your own car, right? You got to drive your shit. And you got to just really focus on taking control of everything in your life and drive the car, So I think that's the first, like, that's the main thing. Like, I can give you a ton of advice here today on like, hey man, do this, do that. But if you ain't taking responsibility for everything, whether it's your financial situation, your family situation, right? The media you consume, your mindset, the food you eat, where you devote your time, if you're not taking control of all of that, like taking responsibility for it, then you're gonna fucking stay where you at. I'm just being real with you, right? But if you don't want that, it's gonna require you to demand more from yourself by actually starting to take responsibility for the things that are in your control. And that's it. That's it. All right. What's a good protein fiber ratio for good sources? I think the ratio is so like fiber content in a day should be somewhere around 20 to 30 grams if you're looking to lose some fat, right? That's going to keep you full and satisfied. Make sure you're producing that good stool. I think the other thing is protein is in relation to your target with how much lean mass you have. So my protein intake and yours might be different because we got maybe two different goals, maybe two different body types, right? So the ratio, I mean, maybe you could do like I wouldn't say a ratio is a good way to look at it. It's more so like the target by the end of the day. So how much protein do you need by the end of the day? And how much fiber do you need by the end of the day? I think those things are like the things that I would focus on if I were you. Matt says he's lost when it comes to smart snacking. More reach I do, the more confusion it gets. I do need to cut soda for sure. Well, I think the first step, man, is just like, get you a game plan, man. You can research forever. You can be in research mode forever. It's a lot of people who are like on YouTube University and getting that Google grant, you know what I'm saying, out here just searching for everything. But, if you don't have a plan, you're planning to fail. So I think that's the first place to start. I'll drop kind of something I think might be resourceful for most of you guys here. The Big Belly Blaster. It's my free course where I kind of go into like the ins and outs of losing fat, building some muscle, and creating a sustainable approach. I'm gonna just drop that in the chat one more time. Because ultimately, man, like, you can go get that for free and that can be a good starting place. But like, you get a plan you follow that plan consistently through tracking what actually worked. You will not like rise to your goals, dreams, and aspirations in life. You will fall to your lowest acceptable standard, right? So you really have to ask yourself what your standards are, because your standards create your life. And so right now, you are living out the reflection of those standards. And so for you to be able to change that, you have to change your standards. But when it comes to food and workouts, if you're not tracking what you're doing, you don't have a standard. You're just doing whatever the fuck you feel like, right? It's inconsistent. So what tracking will do is it'll allow you to create a standard and say, I consume a gallon of water a day, right? That's a standard for me, right? I get 150, 200 grams of protein. That's a standard for me. I, get, 8 hours of sleep, right? That's a standard for me, right? I get, I fast 12 hours, right? Whatever it is, right? And then what happens is those standards create new results for you because you do them consistently, right? But if you're not doing anything or tracking what you're doing, what what kind of results are you gonna get, right? So I think that's the key. Coach Corey, what up? Do you have any tips on what I should be looking for when shopping for protein to build muscle? Yeah. You want to look for like just like the amount of protein that you getting per serving. I think that's one of the things. Most of the legitimate protein shakes out there is going to give you somewhere between 20 to 30 grams of protein a serving. So that's a kind of a place to go. I think really you got to look at more like how well you digest the protein source too. Some of you guys, you got lactose issues, right? So you get what we call the bloaty bloat when you consume some whey protein, right? Because it's lactose, and because you get the bloaty bloat, you be out here, a lot of flatulence, saying, stinking up the place. Maybe you notice that you get some gut issues, you're bloated, things like that. So maybe you don't do whey protein, you just convert over to one of the other sources like soy, like plant-based, like egg protein, maybe even too could work because it's not like that lactate in it. But that's it. Those are my things. That's what I think are the things that you would target. How well you digest it, how many grams you get in the serving, and then also, how does it taste? I like to get like more neutral flavors than like these very like fruity mixes and more specific mixes. So I'll get like a strawberry over like the cinnamon cereal. You know what I mean? Because I'll get tired of cinnamon cereal, but I won't get tired of strawberry. So that's another pro tip too. I've been lifting weights for about a year now. I gained 10 pounds of muscle. Is that average growth or can I do more? It's pretty good for a year. If your first year, like you gain 10 pounds of muscle, that's really good. I would say that's good. Quote of the day. I just said it, the results that you want don't give a fuck about how you feel. Right. And if those results don't care, why should you? Why do you care about how you feeling? Feelings ain't facts. The only thing that's going to really change anything in your life is consistently practicing discipline towards a certain end result. And that discipline can take you places that you never thought you was capable of going. But it's going to require you to let go of them emotions that you feel. All that complaining you doing this shit ain't going to improve your life, man. That's the quote of the day. Do you have 2 or 3 brands that you think are above the rest for protein? Not really. I mean, I got one that I like, Owen. Owen's a plant-based protein, but I like it just because it's like I like the pre-mixed shakes. It saves me the time of having to like shake one up, add some orange, shake one up. So I like Owen because it's It's high fiber too, so it's more satisfying. It's plant-based. You can store it in a bag and not have to worry about it going bad in the cabinets is where I usually store it. That's one of the best, but it's, the pre-mixed brand, not the powder form. I never had their powder form. Powdered protein, take your pick, man. It's not, that's like asking me, that's like asking, like, who's the most beautiful woman in the world? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of beautiful women, right? Take your pick, right? Like, who, what kind of woman we talking about, right? Like, so that's how I feel about protein brands. It's like 1,000,001 of them. That's why I don't have a protein sponsorship, because it's like, yo, they all do the same job. It's nothing really special about them. It's really just about like how, how you digest it, how it fits, your macros. And then again, hold on, Bixby trying to hop in the chat. And then, what the ingredients is hitting like. Kevin just typed Corey in the chat, but that's not how you spell my name. So I don't know if he's just like talking about some other Corey. But welcome to the live, Kevin. EDP44. Are nuts good? Pause. Christy. Seek is a good juice protein. It's like Kool-Aid. All right. Fullerton Nutrition is an isolate, so no gut issues. That's what's up, Christy. Thank you for sharing the protein Kool-Aid. No, one of my clients, he told me about the Seek. I ain't even know it was a thing. So he told me about it. And it does sound like it's lit. It sounds like it's good. But I think something like that's for somebody who really cares about flavor. Flavor is not a big deal to me, man. I'm more about function, man. What's getting me closer to my goals, man? If it tastes good, cool. But if not, also cool. I don't give a fuck, man. How much weight should I be lifting to lose belly fat? I don't think there's not a correlation between the two directly. Like, if you lose weight, if you lift weights, you'll get stronger. If you get stronger, your body's going to burn more calories at rest because you'll have more muscle, right? Does that mean you'll burn belly fat? No. What burns belly fat is being in the calorie deficit. So you can lift all the weights. Prime example. You ever seen a power lifter, right? Power lifters are strong as hell. They lifting the most weight in the gym. And guess what? They are still fat as hell. Why are they fat as hell if they lifting all that weight, Corey? Because they're consuming more calories than they're burning. So they big as hell, right? So it's not really about how much weight you lifting as much as it's about the calories you're consuming. I want you to think about weightlifting like it's kind of like the sides to the entree, right? The entree is your calories. That's what's going to determine the course of your meal, right? Or in this case, that's what's going to determine how much weight you fucking lose, man. It's about calories, right? The sides is a great complement to that, right? It makes the meal complete, just like what makes your program complete is lifting weights. But it doesn't matter if your consumption of calories is off. It really doesn't matter. Hopefully that's helpful. Is Fairlife fat-free milk the best option for weight loss? Who said it was a good option? Who said it was a good option? I mean, it's fine, but Fairlife fat-free milk ain't going to determine if you lose weight or not. It's what I just said before I answered that question. How many calories you consuming in the day, bro? That's the shit. Now, if you need help with that, again, you may need a scoreboard to really determine what amount of calories you should be taking in. I'll go ahead and drop my simple 6-pack system again, my free 6-pack guide. Help you get you a scoreboard so you know, like, all right, for me to lose this belly, I gotta consume this amount of Fairlife or this amount of other shit, right? But I mean, you can consume Fairlife and lose weight, but you can also consume Fairlife and get fat if you having too much other shit. So it's really about the whole package, man. Fairlife ain't got. I don't even know what's in Fairlife milk, man. I probably said something about it in the video when I had it in my hand, but can I recite what the ingredients are offhand? No. I don't know, man. Love your extended fast videos. Black coffee and water is key. That's what's up, man. That's what's up, Ernie, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you, man. Dude, I'm 30% body fat. I need help. Damn, Black Jew. Well, I mean, I did drop the simple 6-pack system in the chat for you. Feel free to check that out, man. Maybe there's some tips in there that can help kickstart you, man, so you don't be out here getting 40% body fat because you are big. So you got to do something about that, man. If you want to stay like this, disregard what I just said. Do you think the machines at the gym will help build muscle, or should I just use some free weights? You should use both, right? I think free weights are great for really emphasizing, obviously, maximal strength and building up your stabilizers. So they're far superior to, actually helping your body to progressively overload and tell your body to build muscle in comparison to machines. Way better. But if you got a gym, and you have access to both, I would say utilize both, because where machines come into play and actually are more beneficial is in that you can utilize them at the point in your workouts when you're fatigued to be able to actually get a little bit more volume of training in certain muscles, or you can isolate muscles in a way that really isn't always possible with free weights without bringing other muscles in. What do I mean by that? If I do a squat, for example, right? That's a body weight plus free weight movement. So when you squat, you bring in all these different muscle groups because it's a compound exercise, right? So you bring in your quads, your glutes, your hamstrings, your hips, your core, right? All these muscles are getting activated. What if I only wanted to work my hamstrings, right? Like me, I got tight hamstrings. You know what I'm saying? I'll be needing to warm my hamstrings up before I start my session, right? So how do I do that? How do I just use my hamstrings with free weights? Well, it's not a lot of ways, but one of the easiest ways to do it in the gym is just use the hamstring curl machine, warm up my hamstrings, and then go right into my squats, my deadlifts, my lunges with my hamstrings now loosened up. So that's a great application of like utilizing machines to specifically target one muscle, and it aids in your free weight training because you've fired that muscle, you've pre-exhausted that muscle, you've actually stimulated the mind and muscle connection to that muscle. So now you actually feel that muscle working more when you're doing your free weight training. Hopefully that is helpful. For personal training, do you tailor it to the individual versus men and women regimens? Kimberly, I work with both men and women. I've obviously trained hundreds and hundreds of people. If you never been on my website, go check it out. Maybe there's some inspiration there, right? Because there's a bunch of transformations on there. But yeah, I mean, obviously you have to tailor to the individual, right? Like I used to be a dumbass personal trainer at one point, right? You've probably seen these guys, like training somebody who is not in the type of shape that I'm in, like me, and watching them suffer through it and actually hurting some people in the past, right? Don't work with somebody that does that to you. I put my clients on a customized plan around their level of fitness. So they're not doing what I do at my level. They're doing something I designed for them. I think that's the best way for all of you guys to go. Like really focus on like training your body is like hyper specific, sort of like training your mind. Like think about when you went to college. If you guys are college educated here or not, still the analogy would matter. It's like when you went to school, they told you, all right, you're gonna get a degree in this. What do you want to focus on, right? Like what's your area of focus for the career that you would like to pursue, right? So you selected that, and then you work together with an advisor to select the classes in relation to that career that would have primed you to have the qualifications to actually get that career once you graduate college. The same thing with your fitness goals, right? You think about the goal that you have, where you're at now, how your body's performing and moving, and what you would like to get to, and the speed in which you wouldn't want to get there. And then what a good coach would do is say, all right, we want to get here, right? This is where you're at. Let me help you build around this, and this to walk you down the path to get there. But we have to address where you're at now to get you there. Because if we're focusing on like training you like somebody who's already there, or training you like, somebody else who can't handle, you can't handle this yet, you're only going to get discouraged and quit. So that's my take on it. Have you ever mixed protein powder with water? And if so, does it taste like shit? Nah, yo, that's predominantly over the years how I've drank my protein. This whole thing that people have with like, they have to drink protein with like milk and stuff. Like, I don't have that. I can drink a protein shake with some water and be fine, right? Having like milk, or maybe even like mixing it with like juice. I did that for one period of time, like when I was like looking to build some muscle, I need some extra calories. That's a luxury, man. That's a luxury to me. Like, I think protein and water is fine. It gets the job done as far as I'm concerned, man. That's how I think it is. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do that. Kimberly says, I've tried an online PT but felt it was more, here's what I have to do versus this is for you, Kim. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Nobody ever wants to go through that experience, but I mean, like, lesson, right? I don't know who you work with, but I'm sure that person, they probably was doing the best they could. They probably didn't know how to cater that to you the right way per you guys' conversations, or maybe they just didn't have the systems in place to really personalize it, and it sucks, but you still here, you learn from the situation, and I'm rooting for you to do better with the experience that you had and get to your goals, right? Drinking protein shakes with water is fine. Yeah, man, it's fucking protein, bro. It's like, it's not a big deal. Who are these people, man, that feel like they protein shakes got to be gourmet for them to hit their goals, man? You do not need a gourmet protein shake to hit your target. I understand though. Some people have a flavor thing, man. They need some good stuff in their mouth, right? I get it. I'm just not one of those guys, man. It's just like, if it's getting me to the goal, I have no problem drinking water protein. All right. What else can I help y'all with, man, before I head up out of here? Anybody else need some help with their greatness today? Come through. Now also, yeah. All right. I think that's it for today. I think everybody Got their value from this. Rick says awesome content. Keep doing what you're doing. Hey, you obviously have excellent taste. Rick, I appreciate that. Um, my parents don't want me to take protein powder. Is it bad? Any downsides? I mean, I don't know a lot of detrimental side effects of like taking protein, man. If that's what you're asking, like yeah, I really don't know any. Other than people who don't digest it well, right? Like people who again have a lactose intolerance, and maybe they're consuming a version of it with lactose. But I don't know, man. Ask them, man. Maybe they have a good reason for it. Man, you can get protein with food. You don't have to drink a shake. What's a good ratio for fat loss? 40, 40, 20? Nah, I like 40, 30, 30 more than that. Most people don't need it that many carbs. In modern society, especially if you got a sedentary job, you motherfucking desk worker, you an engineer or IT person, you don't need 40% of your days nutritional value in carbs. You barely moving. Come on now. I be hearing people like, yeah, man, I walk my dog every day. Like, that's not active, man. Lower your carbs. 40, 30, 30. I talk more about that ratio in the simple six-pack system. Go get that if you haven't. I think it'll help you out. EJ pricing. I don't know what that means. I feel stronger, but not gaining weight. Is that a problem? I mean, if you're feeling stronger, that means your central nervous system is getting more adapted to actually being able to move the weight, which could lead to muscle growth, but strength and muscle growth are separate. Strength is tied to your central nervous system. Muscle muscle is muscle, right? More muscle does usually mean more strength, which, more muscle you have, the more you can actually get your central nervous system to fire. But it's not like the only things, right? If you ever watch the Olympics, there are very small humans. They're coming up. So you watch this. There's very small humans out there who actually lift a lot of weight, right? And you may wonder, like, how are they that strong? Well, they got their central nervous system to fire harder, right? So that's probably what you're experiencing. But if you're not gaining any type of weight, you're just probably not consuming enough calories. You need to be in a surplus to build muscle and build size. So if you're not tracking, you're slacking. I would say that's one of the main things. Tanae Robinson. I think I know this Tanae. If it's young Tanae, you know what I'm saying, they used to be in the program, say what up. Yeah, tips to gain muscle and keep it really okay. So to gain muscle, what do you have to do? You have to send the signal to your body that muscle's a priority. And you do that by using movements, resistance, and things that encourage strength building, right? But you solidify that signal when you put the right nutrients in after. So you're not building muscle in the gym or in your workouts. You're building muscle in the recovery phase. And most of your recovery is during sleep as well as getting your nutrients in. So if you're not getting enough protein in, you're not getting ample nutrients, you're not going to keep any type of muscle. It just is what it is, right? How much you need is very individual. So you got to start there. And the other thing is, getting 6 to 8 hours of sleep, because that's going to give your body what it needs to actually recover from the signal you sent and utilize those nutrients and repair. So those are kind of the things, if you're not tracking your sleep, what I'm saying, get you some. I got the Oura Ring. You can get like a Whoop or a Fitbit or even an Apple Watch to track that. And those things alone can be enough to actually like start to, give you enough data to understand what amount of sleep you may need for your goals. And then the same thing with the tracking of the nutrients, right? How much protein you need. Are you getting that protein every day, right? And if you're not, what do you have to do to get that? Like, those would be the things that I focus on. EJ, is your program guaranteed? Yeah, we got 100% money back guarantee. Thoughts on LeBron's squatting form? I don't know what his squatting form looks like. Why the fuck would I know that? Why would I know LeBron's squatting form? My friend is more jacked, but I am stronger. I mean, okay, so what you gonna do about that? You know, you gonna stay the same, or you gonna work on getting your calories up, like I just talked about? Is it possible to get jacked from doing 100 push-ups a day? I haven't really seen it, man. I don't. Where are these people at that y'all talking about that's getting jacked from doing all these push-ups? I ain't seen them, man. Most of the guys I know that are jacked, like they got a lot of muscle mass and they're lean and ripped, they lifting weights, man. So I don't know a lot of guys who doing like hundreds of push-ups and got a lot of muscle. I know some guys who are lean and doing all that, but not a lot that got a ton of muscle. Can you recommend beginner-friendly weight workouts? I currently just do curls, shoulder press, triceps pull downs, and chest press. IDK what to do for forearms and abs. Yeah, Mike, you can get the big belly blaster. You know, of course, it'll kind of go over some of the things that maybe you could do as a beginner to like start to get the ball rolling. I'm gonna drop that in the chat one more time. But I listen, man, like I don't think that by any means that like the beginner workouts, it shouldn't be curls and chest presses and tricep press down. You should be working on like the core, primal, fundamental compound lifts, man. Like if I was like a beginner, all my beginners do the same like 4 to 5 lifts as a foundation, and we build around that as it specifies what their goals are as well as how well their body's performing, right? So squats, deadlifts, rows, presses, those are like the core compound lifts. But everybody can't do that with good form. So maybe there's modifications of a version of each of those, right? Like if I got somebody, for example, who's old or has like back pain or knee pain, they ain't doing full body, like full range of squats yet. We putting them on box squats, something to really get that posterior chain of fire and putting them in the right, form to actually feel the right muscles working and take some of the pressure off that back and them knees as we get them better at squatting, but they're still squatting, right? So that's what I would say to you as a beginner, right? Like, don't shy away from the compound lifts that's going to give you the most value for the time spent in the gym. You're going to get the most muscle growth, and you're going to be able to obviously lose the most fat if you build the most muscle because you're going to, burn more calories. So I would say, focus on squats, deadlifts, rows, presses, and do them in variations that's relevant to where you're at and how well your body's moving, how good your mobility is on certain movements. And yeah, just build around those. Those are your beginner movements. Mike, how do you improve squat? Because I end up bending my back. Your core is trash. That's what that means. My back when squatting down, it makes it difficult to squat. Yeah, man, just means your hips mobility is trash, and so is your core strength. So address those individually. Focus on really getting more mobile with your hips. Maybe do some hip specific training before your squat session. Maybe do some some mobility drills for your hips. I have my clients do moves like the 90-90 or the lizard with the rotation, things like that. You could do hip abductors and adductor machine, warm up those hips, right? And then instead of doing like a squat, like I just said, like a full range of squat, maybe you do a box squat. Box squats put you in the optimal squatting position because you have to sit on the box or the bench or the chair, whatever you're doing, because you can do this shit at home on your couch, right? You sit down all the time. You just do that, right? And you know what I'm saying? Like you have to fire the hamstrings and glutes to get up off the chair, right? So that causes the posterior chain to be engaged. And as long as you're bracing your core, you get good at that, that'll keep you in an upright posture so you're not bending over or hunching like Quasimodo. So you do those things. And then maybe, obviously specifically train the core, specifically train the hips, maybe even work on your glutes too, because the glutes attached to the hips and sort of control how good you're able to like externally rotate. So those things are things that I would work on if I was you. If you have a total knee replacement, you will love the box squat. James is preaching the gospel. That's a fact. That's a fact, young James. Are sit-ups effective for abs? Sit-ups are not an ab exercise. They are a hip exercise. When you're doing sit-ups, you are working your hip flexors. You're not working your abs. You want to learn how to work your abs. I got this guide, Simple Six-Pack System. I'm going to drop it again in the chat. It's full of the movements that actually are going to like actually work your abdominals and not just your hip flexors. But like sit-ups ain't it. You ever notice the guys is doing like hundreds of thousands of sit-ups, they never have abs? That's because sit-ups do not work your abs. You know what I'm saying? It's a myth. It's a myth. Got any homework for us in the chat until the next stream? Yeah, man. Like, drive your car, man. Like, do not allow your excuses to dictate the direction of your life. That's your homework, man. Like, stop making excuses. Stop thinking about your excuses. Stop talking about them. When you talk, you sound weak. When you out here talking about your limitations, you sound soft. Nobody respects you more. And you telling your subconscious mind that you a fucking loser. And you start to believe that shit. Right? Why do that, man, when you can just not talk about it and focus on what you're going to do about it? It's a waste of time and energy focusing and talking about your limitations. Is it possible to get veiny forearms? Whoa. From wrist curls and reverse wrist curls and a calorie deficit and low body fat for veiny arms, mostly genetic? I mean, maybe. Like, my girlfriend has veiny arms and she don't do that. Why does she have veiny arms? Part of it's genetic, but the other part of it is like cardiovascular endurance, right? So good circulation and blood flow to the blood vessels sort of give you like more of that veiny look. So part of it's that, part of it's being lean enough too. So you got to lose some body fat. If you have bigger muscles on your forearms, though, it will increase the likelihood that you will be able to see the veins in that area because you have more muscle. You have the arteries have to grow to actually support a bigger muscle. But it's not the only key. I don't want you to get it twisted. I haven't had a cheat meal in a long time. Is it okay to eat one and still be in a deficit? Maybe, right? Like, what's a long time and how does that relate to your goals? Is a bigger question. Can you gain muscle in a calorie deficit effectively if you're getting the right amount of protein? I don't know if it's effectively. I've had clients who've gained muscle in a deficit, but they were what we call a true beginner, meaning like they had never either strength trained consistently or had the right amount of protein and nutrients while being in a deficit. So because of that, their body was able to do both at the same time. But you can't target losing muscle and burning fat at the same time, because to lose fat, you have to create a deficit. To build muscle, you have to create a surplus. You can't be in a surplus and a deficit at the same time. It's like turning left and right at the same time. You can't do that, right? So you can't target muscle growth and fat loss at the same time, but it could happen, if that makes any sense. Like, you could burn enough calories for your body to go into a deficit, and then in the recovery phase again, because your body's adapting so quickly because you're like a beginner, putting the right nutrients in, you could mess around and build some muscle. A lot of my clients do that, actually, but I don't talk about it because it's not a target. You don't target both at the same time. I've had a six-pack, I never had a six-pack, but have 23% body fat. You should help me out. Why should I help you out? right? Why should I do that? You explain yourself, Michael. Um, how many calories do you eat per day to lose weight? What is your height and how many times do you exercise a week? Love, bro. Keep doing your thing. You've come a long way. Uh Peter on pole. That's a wild name, by the way. Um, so the calories that you would eat, like what I would eat per day, I don't know if that's going to help you, me telling you that, because it's in relation to where I'm at right now and my current goals. So, for example, right, like you're asking how much I eat to lose weight. Sometimes I don't eat, man. Sometimes I'm just out here fasting, and that's a that's a way to lose weight because it's a little bit easier to abstain from food than to limit it sometimes just for my lifestyle, right? Like so that's one technique, but it's just a technique to get into what's called a calorie deficit, right? I'm creating a deficit within my week by not consuming calories, right? So the more important thing is like how many calories do you need to consume to be in a deficit? That's the real question to ask, and that's purely individual. Now, if you want to use fasting as a tool to help you get there quicker, because sometimes it's just easier to just fast, give your body more time to actually run off the fat that you have accrued as fuel, right? And then you have clarity, focus, sort of a reduction in inflammation in your cells start to like heal, then fasting could help. I'll drop my fasting guide in the chat for y'all. Again, that's free as well. If you're new to fasting, let me go ahead and drop that for y'all. But that's one of the things. But like honestly, you could also track your calories, build a calorie deficit in a day, and still eat and lose weight. So it's more about that as it compares to the activity level and things like that. That's going to get you the results that you desire. My height, I'm 5'10". I train like 6 or 7 days a week personally, but that's because I am an online fitness coach. I need to look a certain way. You don't have to look like me. You can get great results like a lot of my clients do, just training 4 or 5 days a week, man. So it's really up to you. You know what I mean? It's up to you. I've tried losing body fat. Well, that's the problem. Like you already fucked up. You said you tried. Tried? Really? When you say try, guys, I just want you to know that implies that failure is possible, meaning that in some regard, you sort of are saying to your subconscious mind that trying is enough. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to quit. Whereas if you say, I'm going to do this, right? I'm going to make this happen, that carries a different weight, meaning that you're telling yourself that no matter what, I'm going to find a resolution. So I don't try nothing. I don't try shit. I either do it or I don't do it. That's it. You ain't gonna never hear me say, "Oh, I tried something," right? So that's thing number one, Mike. Yeah, and if you're not getting results doing those things you're talking about, you're definitely not doing it right, and it's okay. Like I got to be real with you, man. I was telling somebody this earlier. Like you just got to accept the fact, man, that you're just not good at that shit, man. Like it just is what it is, right? Like if you did intermittent fasting, calorie deficit, you say you eat healthy, you didn't get results, you just didn't do it right, man. You didn't do it right or you didn't do it consistently enough, and that's okay, right? Because you probably sucked at some part of the process and that's why you at where you at. And the sooner you can accept that and come to terms with the fact that you're just not good, the sooner you can start to actually make the changes to become good. I used to suck too, right? Pause. Right. I used to not track my foods. I used to go for 4-mile runs a day with weighted vest on and eat what I thought was healthy. Right. I did Insanity, the home workout protocol. I did it twice and didn't get no results. Right. And it was frustrating. It was very frustrating. So frustrating. In fact, I haven't ran since that season of my life. I don't run at all now because I was so angry that I ran for so long and my body didn't change the way I wanted to. But it was all because I sucked at the process. I was not good at doing the things to get my body ripped. I was not good at weight training because I wasn't doing it. I was not good at eating the right amount of nutrition. I was not tracking my macros. I wasn't good at that. I wasn't doing it. I wasn't good at getting the right amount of sleep, right? Putting the right amount of hydration in my body. I wasn't doing it. I wasn't tracking it. I wasn't even paying attention to it, right? And so therefore my results reflected that I sucked at that shit. And so you guys, the sooner you can accept that you just suck at this shit, right? Like you doing your best, but your current best is not good enough. You can now open yourself up to become better. So that's what it is, man. Just got to get better, man. Would you ever do a fit to fit challenge? No. I was fat once, it ain't happening again. Shout out to my man who does that though, but no, I would never do that. Help me, buddy. Went from 293 to 240, 245, only 25 to go. Greg, I don't know what you need help with, man. You just told me your stats and all the success you having. Why do you need help from me? Sounds like you're doing great, you know. Can you recomp without bulking and cutting cycles if you like your current weight? I don't bulk and cut ever anymore. I used to do that when I first started like consistently training. Like I do what's called mini bulks and cuts, right? So I do like 2 weeks of being in the surplus, 2 weeks of being in the deficit. That might work, you know what I'm saying? But you got to track everything for it to be appropriate. You know, like I just came out of a week of me being in like a surplus for a little bit, and now I'm coming down. You know what I'm saying? Getting leaned up even more. Doing this 48-hour fast to get back on my macros. Do you think Alex Eubanks is natty? I don't know who that is. I don't know who the fuck that is. I lost 40 pounds in 6. Hey, shout out to you. Should I continue to lose weight or should I maintain the weight for a month and then continue? I don't know, man. Where are you at? What are you looking to get to? I would need to know more information. Because, you know, you may be healthy now, so you might not need to lose weight. But if you need to lose more weight, then why would you maintain? Why would you just get there and then maintain? How do I grow my calf muscles without equipment? What exercise to do? Calf raises. there's only that's it. Calf raises. This is it. Calf raises and maybe like what do you call it? I don't do them, so yeah, I don't know the name, but farmers walks to help with that too. Is Paul Saladino on steroids? I don't know who the fuck that is either. I think it's interesting y'all be name dropping these people like I really know like like I'm legit a fitness coach, meaning like this is what I do. So like I spend my whole day before this, y'all, talking to my clients. Like I'm checking in with clients, you know, I'm taking on new clients and I'm working with my team to improve our systems. I don't know what the fuck's happening in politics or on YouTube, right? So whenever y'all name drop these people, like I'm probably not gonna know who they are because I'm not watching them. I'm too busy like building towards my purpose in life and helping other people, man. So I apologize. I don't know these motherfuckers, man. And that's no disrespect to them. I'm just too busy out here creating a path for the people that I serve and making a better way, you know, for me, my family, and the like. So I don't know what these other dudes is doing. Corey, how can I maintain my beer belly? Just keep doing what you're doing. You stay. Do you think Corey Armstrong is natty? Yeah. Yeah. I'm getting quite big now. Damn. Bench 175 kilos, one rep max. Okay. I never use creatine. I think he's saying it's creatine nor protein powder. What powder do you recommend? Oh, if you never use creatine, bro, go get some creatine right now. Creatine is the best supplement there is for muscle growth and even fat loss because you know, it improves athletic performance, recovery, muscle protein synthesis, so you get more muscle growth, right? Um, yeah, it's just going to increase your sort of ability to build muscle and strength. Then you get more muscle and strength, man. You lose more fat. You lose more fat and you keep it off. So yeah. Yeah, like I don't know. There's no negatives to creatine as far as I'm concerned. Paulo Santos, nope, I don't know who that is either. But hey, shout out to him, man. Maybe he's doing good things. Does cycling an hour every day reduce? I'm gonna just stop right there. Cycling doesn't reduce body fat. It burns calories, but that don't mean you're gonna lose body fat because you burn some calories, bro. You still gotta be in deficit. Anne Marie Andrews, menopause weight is a problem. Is it now? I am training, but not losing visceral belly fat. Don't do cardio for long to reduce cortisol, but spend a few times a week, followed by weights. Well, and just in case you just not joining in, you just not joining in the live, I've said it a few times. I'm gonna say it again. Yo, none of that stuff matters if your diet is not on point. You know what I'm saying? You can cycle to your heart's content, right? You can be cycling right now. And if your diet is trash, if you are not consuming the right amount of nutrients in the right quantities regularly, consistently, and you're not keeping track of it, right? You are playing yourself. Make no mistake about it, right? Like if you ain't tracking, you slacking. And if you're not seeing the results you want to see and you're like active, you either gotta consume less or burn more, and it's way easier to consume less than it is to burn more. you know, you can run for like half an hour to an hour, burn 200 calories. You eat 2 slices of bread, that's 200 calories. So that negates what you just did. You just lost half an hour to 2 hours in a minute of eating, right? So that's just the implication, sort of an example of like the power of actually knowing your macros, knowing your calories that you should be taking. Nancy just came through with the WAP. I'm gonna put this on the screen. Nancy said it, not me. Nancy said menopause is not an issue. The issue is what you're doing. I'm assuming Nancy has gone through it or is going through it. So she can speak to this in a unique way that I cannot. I ain't never gonna go through menopause, right? But if Nancy's coming at this from a space of like actually being legitimately where she wants to be, despite menopause, she's giving you hope, right? She's giving you and anybody, anybody else that may be going through menopause and feel like it's a limitation. Nancy is telling you, no, that's bullshit. You can change what's going on if you change the way you do things, right? Nancy said it, not me. All right. Is mass gainer keeping me big as hell? Yeah, mass gainer is trash. I don't know why anybody's doing doing mass gainer. That's a waste. That is a waste of money. That's probably the most worthless supplement there is, in my opinion. Mass gainer is trash. Have you ever been on steroids, or are you ever planning on doing it? Nah, I was talking to somebody about this. Like, the only way I would ever do steroids is if I was getting paid to do it. Like, for example, if I was like a movie, like a movie superstar, right? Like I was a movie star and I got hired for like some role that I had to be like jacked for. Oh yeah, I'm getting on the juice. I mean, come on, man. Look at some of these actors, man, out here who just all of a sudden just jacked in like a couple months. You know what I'm saying? They just say, oh yeah, I got the best trainer. Like, nah, man, you got the best trainer. and the best juice too. You know what I'm saying? Take nothing away from their work ethic, right? Because I know people who are on steroids and look trash, right? So it doesn't negate the work. You still got to put in the work, but they're financially incentivized to look that way, right? So there's a risk inherently with steroids to your health, but there's a massive reward for them because they're doing it for the role and to be able to like financially profit. And then obviously, you know, there's big implications of that, how they can impact their families, right? If I was in that position, I might do it too under the right supervision, but I'm not. I am just a fitness coach who got this way without steroids. What the fuck I need steroids from? I don't need that. I don't need that, man. I'm good. You know. Just worked out today. This dude who was spotting me told me my right arm is weaker than my left arm. How do I fix it? Jay, you got to do more dumbbell training. And if I was you, I would focus more on certain parts of the contraction with both sides that you're probably not focusing on. Because if you're pressing, you're probably only focusing on the concentric part of the movement, which is the positive. You're just coming out of the hole, like pressing. But you probably need to focus more on like the eccentric part of the movement, which is like slowly letting the dumbbells come down to your chest, right? Because you actually can build more muscle, slowing down the eccentric portion of the movement, because more damage is done in the negative portion of the rep, as well as that's a stronger contraction in comparison to the concentric. And then the other part is maybe the isometric portion of the rep. So when you get down to the bottom, pause at your chest for like 3 to 5 second count and then come out. The isometrics is another way to stimulate more muscle growth in comparison to just focusing on concentric. So maybe doing things like, you know, alternating reps, pause reps, slow negative reps, things like that can help you even it out very quickly. You know, I'm probably going to write a guide on this at some point, but for now, that's my advice. And says, I hear you, burn more, track more. Do you have a recommendation of the amount of calories I eat, more protein in relation to carbs? But I agree, I need to track better and become more disciplined. Yeah, and I wrote a guide on like how to do this, like how to learn how to track the simple 6-pack system. It teaches you how to learn how much you should be consuming for your goals. I'll drop it again in the chat. If you think it might help, you can go get that for free. It has a nutrition guide in there, as well as just some helpful information about core training if you want to learn that too. But yeah, you just got to get an idea of where you at and formulate a target around where you at to get you where you want to be. So that's my take on it. Yeah. Favorite meal? I mean, I'm a big fan of I like sushi right now. That's like my top cheat meal right now. And it just happened. Like I just got into sushi in the last, I want to say, man, it had to be like last 4 years. Like I just been starting to get into it. And really the last 2, I just been having some really good sushi lately. But honestly, if I'm not having like a cheat meal, like my favorite thing is just some steak and salmon. I'll eat those 2 together. I eat those most weeks. Steak, salmon, veggies, some type of carb source. I just keep it simple. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, sushi is lit, man. I mean, these people who don't like sushi, man, they're eating the wrong sushi. Sushi is a good time every time. Like I'm a fan of that. You know. What cut of steak? So I'm a Wagyu guy. I really, really fuck with Wagyu. Wagyu is one of my favorites. If you never had Wagyu, you go somewhere, guys, like treat yourself. And it's gonna be the priciest thing on the menu for a reason, because it's worth it. I remember I had my first Wagyu steak. No, that was my second Wagyu steak. My second Wagyu steak was at a steakhouse I don't know the name of it, but it was inside of a mall in Las Vegas. This is the greatest steak I ever fucking had. You know how much that steak was? $300, right? And I can definitively say it was worth every penny. That steak was fire. I still think about that steak to this day. And that was like 3 years ago. So like, I'm a big fan of Wagyu steak. If there's no Wagyu on the menu, I could do a good, like a nice ribeye. If I got a little bit more fats that day, you know what I'm saying? I do like, depending on who made it, like a filet mignon is another good cut too. But a lot of times you just go places, all they got is the New York strip and the sirloin. You gotta just kind of settle for that. Yeah, it wasn't 300 for the steak. It was 300 for the memories. Yeah, they got that shit imprinted in my mind. They did, man. They got me, man. They got me with the experience. What's the Yeah, but do you eat Arby's? Nah, man, I respect myself too much for shit like that. What do I look like going to Arby's, man? What look, when I think about food, especially when I'm on the go, I'm not thinking about taste as much as I'm thinking about how much protein can I get that's not mixed with other shit. At Arby's, they sell sandwiches. Sandwiches are predominantly carb because it's two big pieces of bread and some protein in the middle. So they're not giving you a ton. They're just giving you a few slices, right? So I don't even stop in places like that. The only places I go are places where I can get like grilled protein by itself, that I can get maybe more. Like if I request it, I can get more servings of it. So like I would go to Subway over that because I can go to Subway and I can get double meat, pause, and I might not, depending on my macros, I might not have enough room for a whole sub. I might just get like a bowl from there and then double up on the protein. Or same thing with Chipotle or Qdoba or Bolé. I'm looking for grilled protein sources is what I'm looking for. And they don't have that at Arby's, man. At least, I mean, they got deli slices of meat, pause. But I mean, it's not a ton of protein in their sandwiches from what I understand. So that's my take on Arby's. Nothing against them. I'm sure people love them. But why would I go there? Is it more important to hit the 40-30-30 macros or stay in the deficit if you don't meet the 40-30-30? Depends on what your goal is, King Dre. If you're looking to lose fat and you're doing a 40-30-30, your 40-30-30 is in relation to your calories because you have to get your macros from your calories because macros make up the calories. So if you stick to your 40-30-30, you are in a deficit. You don't have to think about it. You're already there, right? But if you're hitting your macros and you're going over your calories, that means you're going over your macros too. So you need to stop fucking eating so much if you're doing that, right? But I digress. I don't know if that's what you're doing. I think maybe you just might not have made that connection, but macros make up your calories. Okay, I've never researched or understood what macros are. Can you explain? Sure. Macros is short for macronutrients. Macronutrients are the nutrients that make up the calories we consume. It's 3 of them. And there's a 4th one that is detrimental to your health. The 3 that are the ones that everybody knows and loves is protein, carbohydrates, and dietary fats, right? Those 3 all do something different in the body. Protein is for muscle repair, retention. It provides other health metrics in the form of just fueling your cells, as well as making sure that you can sustain life. Because you don't get enough protein, you're gonna die, right? That's number 1. Number 2, carbohydrates is not essential, right? But it's an energy source. So it's your body's preferred fuel source, and essentially it provides fuel to the muscles and cells very quickly, in relation to the third one, which is dietary fats, there's also a fuel source, but it's a slow digestion fuel source in comparison to the carbohydrates. And where dietary fats differ is dietary fats are essential, meaning if you don't get enough of this, you will die. And the fats actually are integral to systems in the body in relation to like brain function and also hormone production, right? So these three different ones, they all got a job. And I like to tell people, like, you want to think of your macros like three legs to a stool. If one of the legs is out of balance, if you extra high or low on one of them, you sit on this stool, you're gonna what? You're gonna fall the fuck over. And that's what a lot of y'all are doing with your diet. Your macros are out of balance. You're too high or too low on one or two of the others, and it's causing you to be out of balance, which is why you have these issues that you have. So it's about learning how much of each that you need to be able to make sure that stool is even. Hopefully that makes sense, right? The fourth macro is alcohol. Alcohol gets digested differently, and it's no healthy consumption of alcohol. It's toxins. It gets siphoned out through the liver, and really it destroys muscle growth for that day because it like stops muscle protein synthesis, as well as it actually has things that inhibit lipolysis, which is the process of using fat for fuel. So you ain't building no muscle or losing no fat on the day you consume alcohol. I mean, so Jay says, give you a funny story. Jay, I'm not a funny story guy off the top of my head. I'm a funny story guy in relation to the topic at hand. So if there was a topic that triggered a story, I would share one. Like I would just need a topic to talk about. Patricia says, big ass belly. Is that you? Are you saying that about yourself? Because you ain't got to live that life no more, baby girl. You can do something about that. Actually, not true. It stops it for 2 to 3 days. Yeah, iOS Chris says that alcohol is worse than what I said. You might be right. You might be right. This is why I don't be drinking. You know what I'm saying? I drink probably once every like 6 months because I'm like really serious about my goals. That's not to say you can't drink. You can do whatever you want to do. You guys are adults. But yeah, it's no benefits to it other than you feel good in the moment. Do you need to hit the 40-30-30 exact or at least some close? You never gonna hit it exact, right? You're gonna be in a range, but you're never gonna hit it exact. You know, like if you're hitting it exact, that means you eating the same foods every day and you getting like psychotic about it. You know, you just want to be in a range. You know, that's the key. That is the key. Well, all right, guys, I'm about to get out of here. I got to get ready for my next meeting. It was fun coming through and chatting with y'all for a little bit. Hopefully this is valuable information. If you want more help with, just reaching your goals, I did drop a link in the description of this video. I'm taking on 2 more students before the end of this month who, maybe potentially want to get to their goals and reach their full potential, become a better version of yourself, restore confidence, and just really just tackle this thing and create a new lifestyle. If that's you, feel free to apply with the link that's provided in the description. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Till next time. Peace.